What up, everybody? Welcome to Philly on PHLY. Philly with Jon Marks, as always presented by Bet Parks. Eagles 7.5-point favorites over the Jacksonville Jaguars on Sunday, as we have a situation here in Philadelphia, and it's not a new situation. It's the 76ers situation. So just let me outline the show. Good morning to everybody. If you're watching live on YouTube, shout out all of our Mad Chatters down there. Good morning, Mad Chatters. Watching on Roku TV. If you have Roku TV, you may not even know you have it. I have it at home. My basement TVs have Roku. And you search PHLY, and boom, all of our programming is going around the clock. So you can catch us live at 8 o'clock. You can catch Ant live at 9 o'clock. All the shows live, but also then they just constantly are running our programming. So if you have Roku TV, it's a great way to watch us here on PHLY. And if you're listening on the podcast, the audio version podcast, we don't forget about the audio people. All right. You can download the podcast, subscribe to us, give 5-star reviews. But the podcast is posted a little bit after 9 o'clock every morning. Philly with Jon Marks. All right. So let's do it. We're going to review the timeline of the 76ers here. So I was not expecting Joel Embiid to play tonight against Detroit. I don't really know who else was expecting the Joel Embiid to play tonight, or Paul George for that matter. Paul George in the injury stuff, we saw him get hurt. We saw him get injured. I've no issue with any of it, right? Like he's injured. He got injured in a game. He hyperextended his knee, right? So I wasn't surprised when they said that he wasn't going to be ready to start the regular season. But what the 76ers have done and what they've created here, and essentially they've created chaos. They've created their own chaos, and this is on them now. They have turned a circus into a clown show. The 76ers are a clown show right now. And I don't say that to just anybody or about anything, because when people will tweet at me with the clown emoji, it really pisses me off because I'm not a clown. I don't say clown things. When I said I thought the Phillies championship window had closed with this particular roster, I got some people who are like, oh, you're a clown. No. The Sixers have turned this into a clown show. Let's go over the timeline, and then we'll talk about it. So you remember, during training camp, Embiid, he wasn't scrimmaging. He wasn't doing 5-on-5s. It was part of a plan. He wasn't injured. The Sixers were very vague about everything. They weren't sharing information. So the day before the start of the regular season, I wasn't expecting Embiid to play in the opener, but they hadn't said that he wasn't. And there were a lot of people, including people on the beat, I think our own Kyle Neubeck, who had thought that Joel Embiid was going to play opening night. So the day before the regular season, and here's Nick Nurse with it, the Sixers announce Embiid won't play, but then they're very weird about how he's not injured. Here's Nick Nurse before the start of the regular season.
Nick, I think to that point, when people hear you guys have a plan, they think of those things like not playing back-to-backs, resting in the middle of the season. But without any kind of setback, I'm just saying he's on schedule throughout the preseason. How do we square that he's not ready to just play games? Just trying to figure out, because it's not like the regular season opener snuck up on you guys.
Yeah, I don't know what to say to you. Right? He's in practice. He's looking good. He's progressing. He's not quite ready yet. He'll be ready pretty soon. I don't know what else to say to you. Okay?
So it's a ramp up. He's not quite ready yet. He looks good in practice. There was no setback. There was no injury. More or less, this was just part of the plan to manage Joel Embiid, which is essentially what the 76ers are saying. Like, what are you guys talking about? No, there's nothing wrong going on here, right? So then yesterday, they put out a statement saying Joel Embiid and Paul George will not play tonight against the Pistons. They participated in portions of practice and will be reassessed later in the week. Here's our own Kyle Neubeck's tweet. So all the guys on the beat were told this verbally by the 76ers. Not playing tomorrow night. Paul George also isn't playing, but again, we're not even talking about that. And he was in practice and it'll be reassessed later in the week. So the statement comes out, and then Nick Nurse comes out. He won't answer questions regarding Embiid. He refers the reporters to the statement. Here's how it sounded yesterday after 76ers practice.
We have to worry about Joel. Nick, obviously we have to worry about Joel and Paul. In terms of their participation in practice today, were they able to do any
Tough to hear this part.
like that today?
You guys got the update?
There it is.
They were in parts of practice.
Sound like
On we go.
It
Sorry,
sounded like
apologies, but go ahead.
sorry. It sounded like you guys went pretty hard for a good chunk of time today during practice. What was the focus, or what were you trying to hone in on?
Just trying to establish and maintain some type of identity and toughness of who we want to be and who we are and how we want to play, which finally showed up there 3 games in. Just staying on that track.
With Joel's plan,
I'm not going to answer. Go ahead. Anybody else got anything?
What was different?
They've given you the updates on that, right? They've given you the updates on Joel. Go ahead.
What was different?
And that's Nick Nurse's MO from Toronto. I read that before he came here. He even gave him the hand. That was Dave Uran from KYW 103.9 FM. He even gave him the hand. He's like, I'm not going to answer that. And he refers him to the statement. And Dave did a great job following up on the question, because the first question was shut down pretty quick. I think was that Taryn Hatcher that was the next question. Where the next question was, nobody cares. All right. The first, he should be pressed until he does that. And he did that. I don't even really, I don't think it's a great look for Nick Nurse, but he is referring to the statement. I don't know how happy Nick Nurse is about this whole thing, because he also talked about how he has to concentrate on the players that are playing, and he's got to get them ready to play. He's got to win games, and I understand that, right? So Nick Nurse won't answer questions. Then conveniently, after the press conference, it's announced that the NBA has fined the 76ers $100,000 for public statements, including by President of Basketball Operations Daryl Morey and head coach Nick Nurse, that were inconsistent with Joel Embiid's health status and in violation of NBA rules, including the league's player participation policy. You put up that graphic, we have it there, JP. The league's investigation also confirmed that Embiid has been unable to play in the 76ers regular season games this season due to a left knee condition, and therefore his games missed have not violated the player participation policy. So they were being investigated because he wasn't playing. Their investigation showed, what do you know? Joel Embiid's not playing because his left knee is effed up. Big surprise. The Sixers didn't violate it because he has a knee injury. That's why he's being held out. The Sixers aren't being transparent or consistent with their messaging to the media, which they're required to do. What are we doing here? Joel Embiid's injured. His left knee is injured. He had meniscus surgery that he missed 2 months of the season last year. Meniscus surgery on his left knee. The same knee that is giving him problems now. He had a previous meniscus surgery on that left knee. The league's investigation confirmed he's been unable to play because of the left knee. What are we doing? The left knee is injured. If the Sixers said in training camp, or even the day before the start of the regular season, the knee's been slow to come around. Once we got started in training camp, it was starting to give him some problems. It was sore. We're going to take our time. We're going to be conservative. It's a long season. Instead, they refused to acknowledge a starting point to it. They refused to acknowledge an injury. This is ridiculous. They kept talking like there was nothing wrong, and this was the plan for Embiid. What is the freaking plan? This is no plan. The plan is they're managing this from the seat of their pants. And I don't know if I necessarily agree that Joel Embiid is the one that doesn't want information put out there. To me, this feels like a Daryl Morey production. Up and down. All of this is unnecessary. It's Bush League, and it's embarrassing. And honestly, for 76ers fans out there that have dealt with the process, that have dealt with losing for 40 years, to more or less be spat right in the face of 76ers fans, all we want is transparency. All we want is the truth. Joel Embiid is going to be injured his entire career. We're going to have to deal with this stuff. So just be transparent. We may not like it, but I think we'll understand. You're not going to put Joel Embiid on the floor or on the court when he's injured at the start of the season. All of it's unnecessary. All of it. All they had to say was the knee was sore, and it's over with. We'd be mad. We'd be talking about how he's never going to be able to stay healthy, whatever it is, but still, what does that matter? If the goal is to have him healthy by the end of the season in the playoffs, which will never happen, by the way. This team is creating their own chaos, and it's went from a circus to a clown show. And it's ridiculous. And I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of it. They make it impossible to talk about the team. We want to talk about basketball. We want to talk about winning basketball. We haven't seen that. We haven't seen them get past the second round. It'd be nice to actually focus on the team. Even if Joel Embiid isn't out there, even if Paul George isn't out there, we could have spent the day ripping Tobias Harris. This could have been the Tobias Harris appreciation show or lack of appreciation show. Instead, we got to talk about this. Absolutely ridiculous by the 76ers. So I wanted to talk to the person that probably would be the hardest on the 76ers today. So Marcus Hayes is going to join us in the Philadelphia Inquirer coming up at 8:25 because he's actually been extra critical of Joel Embiid. So I'm curious if Marcus thinks, and he's down there. I'm not down at practice. I'm not down at the games. I'm sitting on my butt at home. Marcus is down there a lot. All of our PHL guys are down there a lot. I want to hear from Marcus. Maybe he's hearing whispers that Joel Embiid is the one trying to orchestrate whatever the hell's going on here. Maybe he's hearing that Joel Embiid came back from the Olympics not in great shape. I don't know, because he's been super critical of Joel Embiid in the 76ers. So Marcus Hayes is coming up at 8:25. But and JP is with me again this morning. It's like different general manager, different president. I don't blame Joshua Harris for this. I don't think Joshua Harris, a lot of times it starts from the top, like with Daniel Snyder or Jerry Jones. I don't believe that's the case with Joshua Harris. I just don't know how they can't get out of their own way with this kind of stuff. And it's so unnecessary. If they would have taken care of this properly in training camp or even before the start of the regular season, we wouldn't be talking about this right now. Instead, the NBA investigated you. You got to find $100,000. And now, guess what, JP? They're going to have to hold a press conference today before the game, and then they're going to speak after the game again. Would you say that this is going to be a topic of conversation since it wasn't announced they were fined when Nick Nurse spoke yesterday? You think that the reporters are going to be talking about this today and tonight?
Gee whiz, I really do think they are, John. What's with the Knicks in this city, man? They can't run a team the right way. And dude, I'm so frustrated with the Sixers team. Like I just wish I would have told myself back in 2014. There was a special moment I had sitting 5 rows above the half court line, right? And it was Sixers Nets. Ish Smith is point guarding the Sixers. And I'm thinking to myself, in about a couple years, this place can be special. We're going to have some winning basketball. We're going to go through this losing, but we're going to have some winning basketball. But dude, ever since the post-process days have been nothing but headaches. And yet again, the Sixers do not know how to handle a situation. And like the thing is, John, is we know Joel Embiid has an injury history. And yet now, with the 12,000 injury that he has, they don't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
This is the same organization that we had Mr. Big Collar himself and Brian Colangelo with the burner accounts. Same organization that mishandled the poor rookie Markelle Fultz and his yips. Same organization didn't know how to handle the Ben Simmons or the James Harden situation properly. So we're surprised here now that they don't know how to handle this. John, it's very simple. It's all about the transparency. And the fact is they have not been transparent. Kyle Newback's catching Nick Nurse with his pants down in press conferences here. This is, again, another mess. And we're supposed to believe that this is going to be the year. Listen, I know that this has nothing to do with the on-the-court stuff. Yes, things can change in April. And Joel Embiid could be hypothetically 70% healthy. Paul George could be balling. Tyrese Maxey could be balling. But we still are incompetent, John.
Reeks of dysfunction.
Yes, dude.
It's hard to win with that kind of dysfunction. And I have a lot of respect for people down there that are running the 76ers. I have personal relationships with a couple of them. So that's when I say that it's turned into a circus, into a clown show, I really mean it. I'm not just saying that. This is ridiculous. All right, so Mark is going to join us in 10 minutes. Got to get the headline, sponsored by Glad Hair Restoration. Bald's now optional if you want to improve how you look and how you feel about yourself. Glad Hair has the right treatment for you. Regain your confidence. Visit glatzhairmctr.com or call 610-980-4000 to get started. It is a casual Wednesday. It's the first time that I
love it, John.
I haven't been. That's terrible. I haven't actually been, I'm not dressing to the nines every day, but generally I have a collared shirt or a nice shirt on. I said, you know what? I'm wearing the blue Nike sweatpants and I'm wearing my white long sleeve today.
Well, I'm a big button-up shirt guy, but like you got to iron that bad boy. So like this time slot's a little bit tough, John.
You got to do it the night before.
I got to remember
I'm a
to do
steamer.
that.
I'm not an ironer. I have a steamer, so I do that. Anyway, Flyers How about a stunner up in Boston, JP? A shutout. Samuel Harrison, 23 saves on 23 shots. Tyson Forrester, who I've never heard of. Joel Farabee with goals.
You'll hear a lot of him for now on.
I was doing some homework on him, a young stud.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, he's one of those young kids that have us excited for the future. Hopefully, he could be part of that young nucleus.
Flyers 3-6-1 on the season. I want to get to this because this was the big story tonight. By the way, Flyers back on the ice tomorrow night at the Wells Fargo Center. World Series Game 4. The Yankees avoid the sweep, beat the Dodgers 11-4. But the big story from the game. Do you have this? So this is the bottom of the first. Freddie Freeman goes long, breaks a World Series record for consecutive games with a home run in a World Series or whatever it is. So they're up 2-0. So this happens in the bottom of the first. This is courtesy of MLB.
Does he have room? Fights with the fan. And they're going to say that it's an out and fan interference. So an out, one gone in this first.
This is insane.
So he kind of went into the stands. What do you see the
Fan
replay?
interference in this series. He had the home run turn into a double back at Dodger Stadium. And yeah, Betts has that ball in his glove, and this fan literally
has his glove.
Off.
Now watch the other guy.
Pries the ball out of there. A for effort.
Well, he won't be watching the game much
A
longer.
for effort.
A for effort. Yeah, terrible
A
announcing.
for effort.
From a TV, we're gonna be watching on the TV.
What a disgrace.
Dude.
So they were ejected from the game. So the one is ripping like a strip sack.
Yeah.
It's like they're a Baltimore Raven trying to create a turnover. And the other guy grabs his hand so he can't try to go over it and make sure that he catches the ball. I've never seen anything like this. I very much believe that if you're a fan that's going to a game and you're going to be like in the first row or the second row, you have to make sure if it's close, don't try to catch it. You got to let it go. You can't interfere with the game. You can't. And that ball was right there. So I don't blame the fan for trying to catch it, but to try to rip the ball out of his hands. So a reporter for ESPN caught up to him after the game at a bar. His name's Austin Capobianco.
I have that too.
He grabbed the glove with both hands. His friend John Peter, there they are right there, grabbed Betts' non-glove hand. Capobianco, a Yankee season ticket holder, said he knew he would be in trouble, but he chose to grab and open Betts' glove nonetheless, telling ESPN that him and Peter often discuss this exact scenario. If a foul ball comes their way, they're going to do what they can to help their team. Quote, "We always joke about the ball in our area." Capiano said at a local bar after the game, "We're not going to go out of our way to attack. If it's in our area, we're going to D up. Someone defends. Someone knocks the ball. We talk about it. We're willing to do this for our team."
What is wrong with these people? These are the type of fans that I hate, dude. Dude,
you forget how stupid Yankees fans are.
A problem is, John, I don't think that this is just Yankees fans. Like, I do genuinely think that there would be some Phillies fans that would think like this as well.
I don't.
You don't think so?
I don't think Phillies fans are dumb enough to think that they could get away with doing this. You realize that everything's replayed and there's cameras, right? So you can't just go and,
they're
strip Mookie Betts of the ball like you're in the NFL and they're not going to see it. Or like they literally said they had a plan that if it goes into the stands, they're going to D it up. What are you doing? If you're going to try to catch the ball, that's fine. But to try to strip them like they're a defensive end.
Dude, they're given the energy where they were the varsity high school athlete and like they still wear their varsity jacket like 15 years later after graduating high school. Like,
these guys are the dumbest fans in the history of the world. It's unbelievable.
They're like the opposite of Bartman.
Like home field and everything else, I get it. It's been since 2009. Yankees fans have been starved, but they were also booing Freddie Freeman when they had the moment of silence, and Freddie Freeman was for cancer. Freddie Freeman's mom died of cancer, and they were booing it. They were booing during the thing.
It's despicable.
Anyway, so there you go. Anthony Richardson also benched the starting quarterback of the Colts.
That's
Joe
story,
Flacco named starter,
dude.
Which is wild.
I mean, come on.
He's looked that bad though.
Well, Michael Parsons on his podcast said, like, well, sometimes you don't have to be fully honest with the reporters.
He does not look like he should be out there playing. I mean, part of the problem is that he was that raw coming out of college. But are you going to develop him? Well, guess what? The head coach don't want to develop him. He's trying to win games to save his job. So,
yeah.
there you go.
Jalen Hurts and Anthony Richardson, a little bit different mentality-wise.
All right, listen, Marcus Hayes joins us coming up in 4 minutes here. Trey Thomas is going to join us at about 8:40 to discuss everything going on with the Eagles. So we will get to some Eagles coming up here in a second. But hey, listen, let's talk about glad hair restoration for a second. How am I looking? I slept in bed last night. No bed head. But put the styling gel in or whatever. Listen, glad hair restoration, if you don't like your hair, if you're balding, you're thinning, Glad Hair Restoration by Morgenstern Medical is the experts in the industry, both locally and nationally. The best hair restoration practice in the entire country. What makes them better is experience, most experience, 30 years plus experience of industry experience. Hair restoration's all they do, and it's not just about hair restoration. I had a hair restoration procedure. I was really balding and thinning right here. Boom. Does that look like I had anything done? Because it's your real growing hair, right? But if you're starting to thin, if you're shedding, if you're like, hey, I don't even want to get to hair restoration stuff, they have something for you. All stages of hair loss, leading edge treatments for prevention and restoration. Vitamin supplementation is a big thing right now. PRP and stem cell. The science that is now developed with hair for hair loss is real, and it's only getting better. And Glad Hair is right at the top of everything. So, bald's optional. If you want to improve how your hair looks, a complimentary one-on-one consultation. They'll pinpoint the best course of treatment. They'll say, hey, here's your hair. Here's what I think we should do. Glatt Hair, G-L-A-T Hair, MCTR.com is the website. Or call them. You can speak to the hair team right now. 610-980-4000, 610-980-4000, GlattHairMCTR.com, MCTR.com. Also, I've mentioned this. Slide in my DMs if you have questions. Email me if you have questions. But also, I can connect you with my girl Lisa over there or Cheryl. If you want me to give you an introduction, so I'd be like, hey, this is Bob. And he's reached out to me regarding some, here you go, introducing, hey, say hi to Lisa. I can do that for you. I've done it with countless people. So reach out to me on social media. Hey, let's talk about Bet Parks for a second. Oh, man, I love Bet Parks. I was on there last night. My buddy was texting me saying, should I live bet the series with the Yankees? Yankees were down 3-0. They had the lead in the game. So right now, if you wanted to bet the series, the Yankees are up 3-1. And or down 3-1. By the way, no team that was down 3-0 in the World Series has ever extended it to 3-2. So once a team's down 3-0, they've never won 2 straight games. So the Yankees tonight minus 148, World Series Game 5. On the series, for a $100 bet, the Yankees are plus 650. So if you bet $100 and the Yankees win the World Series, you win 650. The Dodgers, meanwhile, are minus 1115. So to win $100, you would have to put up $1,115. I would not make that bet. That's not worth it. Watch and wager and then double down on fourth down by playing live dealer blackjack, craps, and roulette while watching your favorite game. And new users download the BetParks online casino app and sportsbook right now. Up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're ever down in the first 24 hours. It's the only sportsbook app I would ever recommend. BetParks and the BetParks sportsbook app and online casino. BetParks.com has details for casino bonus. You must be wagered by all of your casino bonus must be wagered. And you must be 21 and in NJ, PA, Maryland, Ohio, or Michigan. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, 76ers. I just don't understand what they're thinking with everything that's going on down there. And our next guest probably won't have the answers to what they're thinking, but we can have fun bashing them maybe a little bit. He's a columnist for the Philadelphia Inquirer. When you need somebody that's going to put out a strong opinion, a lot of times they lean on this guy right here. Marcus Hayes joins us, one of my favorites. What's up, Marcus?
Hey, Johnny. How you doing? You look great, by the way.
Thank you.
I like the beard, strong hair.
Well, I'm wearing sweatpants today, which it's the first time I've looked less than professional on the camera, but I wanted to do a sweatpants Wednesday. So,
Well, nobody told me. I'm not wearing pants at all.
We learned a lot of time during COVID with the Zooms. There were a lot of people not wearing pants during their meetings, so we'll keep the camera up. I thought of you yesterday. I love your opinions. You were really hard on Joel Embiid when it came out that he wasn't going to be ready to start the regular season. And you've been, I believe, fair, but you've also been hard on the 76ers regarding a lot of different things over the years. What is your opinion on how they've handled everything, from not being transparent in training camp to giving us the news he's not going to play the day before training camp to everything that transpired yesterday? How do you think the Sixers are handling everything?
Typically poorly. I mean, this is a franchise that when Josh Harris bought them, again, this remains the most outrageous thing I've ever seen any franchise do on purpose. They rented out the Constitution Center to announce to welcome Andrew Bynum in. Andrew Bynum showed up in a mismatched, wrinkled sweatsuit with a pick in his afro. He had clearly just woken up. The Sixers literally had a band, rented out the entire top floor, had a massive press conference at which the owner, Josh Harris, spoke. And my question to Josh Harris, and I think it was 2012, was Andrew Bynum has missed a lot of time with bad knees. He's on his way to France to receive experimental treatment to salvage his knees. Would you give this guy a max extension? And Josh Harris replied, sign me up. I do it right now. Andrew Bynum never played a game for the 76ers. He cost them, between guys on the team and future picks, 4 first-round draft choices. And I looked at a colleague of mine, Bob Ford. Back then, I wrote only for the Daily News, and he wrote only for the Inquirer. I looked at Bob Ford, who'd covered the league at that point for 25 or 30 years, and I said, I hope Josh Harris owns this team forever, because this stuff just writes itself. So if you look back at the quote-unquote process, the idea, the audacious idea that they were going to strip down the team for years, 4 or 5 years, and accumulate high draft picks by essentially paying for them by trading for lesser players who are making a lot of money and getting a first-round draft pick, then assuming that they would be competitive within 5 or 6 years for the next 5 or 6 years, was always flawed by me, from my perspective. That's what they call the process. I think we're entering the 12th year of the process, right? So this was typically bad planning. And it's not the only constant throughout this process, throughout these years, has been Josh Harris and the ownership group. We've had, I think, 3 coaches, 4 general managers / presidents. We've had 2 different PR staffs. The PR staff that began the process is not the PR staff that exists.
Nope.
And the only constant has been the ownership group, which operates with a degree of arrogance that only venture capitalists or private equity people can muster. They just don't care about anything but their bottom line. And they keep proving that in every industry, but the one industry in which they get the most flack, the most feedback, is the industry in which their communities are most invested, and that's their sports teams.
All right, like, and you're right, it's been a constant with Joshua Harris. Everything's changed around him. Scott O'Neill's no longer with the organization, right? Like, you have different GMs now. Daryl Morey's running something, but I will counter with this: is Joshua Harris, especially with the Commanders going on right now, and we question how much he's actually paying attention to the 76ers. Is Joshua Harris really getting involved in the planning of what to do with Joel Embiid's injury? Is this here's what I'm trying to figure out, Marcus.
Right.
Where is this coming from that they just can't say in training camp, hey, Joel's knee sore. We're going to take a very conservative approach. It's a long season. We're not going to put him out there just because of the regular season starting. We'll see how it goes. They shared no information. They acted like everything was okay. They couldn't even admit there was an injury. Like, they have been so pig-headed about this, they can't even admit it's an injury. Now the league has to say, yes, it's an injury, and they're being fined for it. To me, this has Daryl Morey written all over it. Or do you think that this is something that Joel Embiid is maybe orchestrating because he doesn't want the injury information put out there? You're down there a lot. Where is this coming from? Why are the 76ers acting the way that they've acted this training camp?
Well, the most damning thing that has been said over the last 2 or 3 weeks is when Nick Nurse said he's lost some weight. That means the Joel Embiid you saw at the Olympics, who seemed to be in pretty good shape and pretty durable by the end of the tournament, wasn't the Joel Embiid that showed up for training camp. And I do believe it's collaborative, but I believe it is. I think they I believe the Sixers are interested in delivering Joel Embiid to the playoffs as healthy and as fresh and as uninjured as possible. And he didn't take care of himself in the 2 months between the Olympics and training camp. That seems clear. If they keep talking about him losing weight, then he was fat or too fat for them to be comfortable with him pounding on that knee. So I have no doubt that Joel Embiid's camp is very eager for him to minimize his participation until probably the spring. And I think the Sixers agree with that. And I do believe it's collaborative. I believe they think that having invested another $193 million in Joel Embiid, he got a max extension the week before they announced this policy, is I believe it's both sides. I believe both sides can be served by this. But you know who isn't served by it? The people who've already paid for their tickets.
Yeah, no, you're right. And 76ers fans, you had mentioned this with the process. And really, Andrew Bynum started the process. That disaster of a trade in Doug Collins, that gave ownership. They said, you know what? Yeah, let's try and do this. But Sixers fans went through the process.
Also, people forget, Doug Collins was the original Ryan Sandberg. Doug Collins admitted that over the Christmas break of his final season, that's when he decided he was going to retire.
He checked out.
Coaching. He checked out, drinking wine in Arizona. He gave us a very detailed admission that he was not committed to the team past that season, and therefore probably not all that committed during the year. What's happened during Joshua Harris's tenure is mind-boggling. You know, it's just astounding. You can't bring up a name that doesn't have some sort of controversy linked to it. All the major names have some sort of crazy spin. I'm sorry.
No, it's true. But you look at 76ers fans, Marcus, this is 40-plus years they haven't won a championship. This is one Eastern Conference final since 1983. Sixers fans are packing the house. The Sixers can't get past the second round of the playoffs. Joel Embiid can't stay healthy. This has been the same story over and over. Ben Simmons and the fiasco that happened with that, and Doc Rivers, and everything that's happened. But
James Harden.
Yeah, James Harden. JP was talking about it before.
Brian Colangelo.
Right, well, I mean, the Burnergate stuff, it never ends. And at what point do the Sixers realize that when they miss an opportunity like this, just to be transparent, it's another spit in the face to the fans that have.
They don't care.
Well, I mean, do they not care, or are they just this incompetent?
They don't care. They're run by a private equity billionaire who owns parts of 4 other teams, including an NFL team on whose sidelines he likes to stand now. You know, Josh Harris, if I'm not mistaken, Josh Harris was stripped of the leadership of the private equity firm because he was spending too much time dabbling in his outside interest with Harris Blitzer, which owns parts of Crystal Palace, a Premier League team, the Devils, now the Commanders, and the Sixers, among other minor interests, you know, like gaming and stuff like that. So all that said, they don't care. They operate inside a bubble, which, you know, the world of private helicopters and private jets. And again, we're not talking about paupers going to Sixers games. These are you need a lot of money. It probably costs you $500-$600 to take your family of 4 to a Sixers game, right?
More than that.
So buyer beware. I've said this since the process began. Investing in this team, you do that at your own peril. And I understand basketball fans are basketball fans, but the only message they understand is a box office message. But, you know, they're not going to receive it because there are so many people out there who are kind of sheep, and they're pot committed. You know, we've got a lot of cults. We've got a lot of cults and tribes in our country right now. The process tribe, the process cult, was an early adapter to cultism. You know, it's never the fault of the process. It's only the fault of Colangelo, or it's never the fault of Sam Hinkie, who drafted horribly. You know, and you know, it's always the fault of someone else, because the theory of the process has to work and was the only way to build, as the Golden State Warriors ignored that and won 3 championships, you know?
Well, it's true, and I'll just leave it like this because we're short on time. The Daryl Morey, and this current regime, this is what bothers me the most, and it was with Doc Rivers and it's with Daryl Morey. Their attitude isn't, hey, Sixers fans have endured a lot of losing or a lot of just like not meeting expectations. I'm sorry, it hasn't been fun being a 76ers fan. Even when they're winning regular season games, it hasn't been fun. But their attitude was, well, I wasn't here for that. Doc Rivers, I wasn't here for that. I've made the team better. Daryl Morey, well, I wasn't here for that. I've turned this into one of the great organizations in basketball. To where you still haven't gotten past the second round. You were brought in to take the team to the next level, and you haven't done that.
Well, we're starting to hear it from Nick Nurse, too, who would not entertain questions after the Sixers issued a statement saying Joel Embiid wouldn't play Wednesday night, which, as we tape this, is tonight. Yesterday, Tuesday, he said, I'm not answering any questions about this. There's a statement. Well, that doesn't wash, because if it's an organic, evolving thing, there should be a spokesman out there saying, okay, and here's where we are with the plan. He wouldn't tell you how much Joel Embiid did during practice. He wouldn't tell you if he had a setback. He wouldn't tell you anything. So they're being the opposite of transparent, which is unforgivable, because they want a $1.4 billion arena downtown that's going to disrupt a neighborhood and cost hundreds of millions of dollars in infrastructure, which I'm in favor of. I want them to build it at Market East,
and they start the season like this. Yeah,
but you can't keep rubbing people's faces in mud and expect them to appreciate you.
So Nick Nurse speaks before the game today. They also had the press conference before it got announced that they were being fined by the NBA. So Nick Nurse speaks before the game today, and then he's going to speak after, right? So they're going to have to talk about this again,
or not. I mean, he refused to talk about it. I think he's just going to
be asked about it.
Right. I think he's just going to continue to deflect. I don't think Nick Nurse is 100% on board, because you know who this affects Nick Nurse more than anybody else in the world. He has to effectively comprise 3 different game plans, depending on the availability of Joel Embiid and Paul George, who is legitimately hurt. So he is over. He thought that the beginning of this season was going to be sort of an unveil, the curtain was going to go up on something inevitably successful, but it's just an inevitable clown show again.
Awesome stuff, Marcus. We'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you hopping on.
Thanks for this, and congratulations on the success of the Philly.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Marcus. There he is, Marcus Hayes. Appreciate it. Trey's going to join us coming up in a second. Trey Thomas, appreciate you holding on there, Big Trey. We have a lot of Eagles stuff to talk about. Let's listen. JP's going to talk about Rite Aid coming up in a second, but let's talk about our good friends at Ace. Right, I've said this many times. I'm a loser. I can't fix anything. I am the mechanically uninclined. Is that a word? That's why I need Ace Hardware Home Services, because they're doing everything. Whether it's just a simple fix that I can't do, or maybe it's something legit, right? Like a wide range of residential maintenance, installation, and home repair services. Free estimates on equipment installation and replacement with trusted advisors and options that are best suited for your home and your budget. And they have emergency services available. So on a Saturday afternoon, your heater goes in the winter, you don't have to wait till Monday and freeze. Ace Hardware Home Services, emergency services, and they're your local team. Service you can trust. Satisfaction is guaranteed. They're going to make it right no matter what. So plumbing, heating, cooling, electrical, equipment installation, they got it for you. Ace Hardware Home Services.com. Check them out. What's up, JP?
All right, Johnny, let's now talk about our good friends over at Rite Aid. It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen. It's that time where everyone's getting sick, right? You're in the office, you hear you hear all that, right? You got people with cough drops, cough syrup, whatever it may be. And the only place that everyone's going for everything that is with the cold and the flu season is at Rite Aid, whether it be the over-the-counter medications, including if you need to get that flu shot, if you want to prevent it. And they always recommend getting the flu shot every year because, listen, over time, that flu shot will wear off and that cold will then attack you. Nobody wants to be sick, right? Like nobody likes the feeling of having the flu. It's not fun. It's like dealing with the Sixer situation right now. All right. So what are you waiting for? Right now, walk into your Rite Aid, your local Rite Aid, or schedule an appointment at RiteAid.com with a local pharmacist. All right. State, age, and health restrictions do apply. Ask your Rite Aid pharmacist for more details. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen, we got a lot of good stuff coming up, right? We still got a lot of World Series left. We have NBA, NHL in full swing. Our birds are here. We have Thanksgiving, Christmas coming up. You don't want to miss any of this. You want to be fully healthy. Make sure that you are not missing it, and you can get all your immunizations and everything over with our friends at Rite Aid.
Thank you very much, JP. All right, let's shoot it out and talk a little Eagles as, man, we're on a little bit of a winning streak here. Can they beat the Jags, get to 6-2, and then they got a tough run after that? But impressive 3-game winning streak by the Eagles. To discuss, we have to send it to the trenches and talk to my guy, Trey Thomas, Eagles Hall of Famer, looking handsome as always. What's up, big man?
Hi, I'm good, man. How's everything?
It's good. It's good.
Yes.
What do you like? So they beat the Browns. Browns are one of the worst teams in the NFL. They beat the Giants. They dominated the Giants. So it's like, all right, let's see them beat a good team. They go on the road. Not only do they beat the Bengals, but after that opening drive, the defense dominated. The offense looked very good. It was a true team win. It really was. It was an impressive win. What are you feeling like? How do you like the look of the Eagles right now, Trey?
I like the way the team is coming together. You know, right now the defense is playing at a high pace. You know, they're coming in there. I think our secondary has really improved. You know what I'm saying? These guys are playing. They're shutting down receivers, giving the defensive line time to get home. And I think this is probably one of the most complete games that you've seen from our offensive line. You know, to go out there, even though you have a couple guys missing, the backup stepped in and had a really solid game. This was the first game they had with 0 sacks.
Fred Johnson. I mean, you talk about it. He comes off the bench. He's kind of been a journeyman. Jeff Stoutland obviously doing a great job with any guy that has to come in here. But Jordan Mailata, he's gone. And Fred Johnson comes in, like you said. He's been tremendous.
Yeah, he had a really good game. Now, you know, for the past couple games, he was trying to find his way there. Now, when you get back, he said that he feels a lot more comfortable on the left side. And it showed, you know, because when he came out there last week, I mean, he was lights out against a really good rusher.
Yeah, so you look at what the Eagles are now doing offensively, and earlier in the season, it seemed like they were trying to figure out what they were, and just because you want to have an identity doesn't mean that you can just say, here's our identity. It takes time, right? We've seen this year after year. It feels like, hey, we're running through the offense. We're running the offense through Saquon Barkley right now, and man, and we're going to beat you if you try to take Saquon Barkley away, which the Bengals did last week, or they tried to do last week. Jalen was excellent. He's not turning the football over. Is this right now, is this the offense best suited for the Eagles making a run? And maybe 3, 4, 5 weeks from now, we're looking at this team as being one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl.
Absolutely. I think that this, when you have the team where the offense is clicking like this, where you're running the offense through Saquon, that's a winning formula right now. Because when you go back and you say, all right, you know what, we had, how many yards rushing did we have? 161 yards rushing. You know, that's what I'm talking about. That's what you want to see from this offense. And then now you have those receivers where you got Jaylen Brown and Slim, AJ and Slim out there that just can light you up as well. So it's, to me, if you can run the ball, then that's going to open up the pass as well. And then, you know, when you have receivers like that, it makes defenses have to play you a certain type of way, which allows you to run.
Yeah, you had mentioned the secondary, and I think just the youth on defense. It's crazy, Trey, because week 2, you're looking at the defense and saying, like, oh, man, like, I'm not sure about these young guys. And Quinn Mitchell looks good, but maybe DeJean, he's not ready to play because he wasn't playing much early in the season. And now you look at him after the Bengals game, DeJean had a couple of huge plays. Mitchell looks like a stud going forward. So when Slay isn't on the field, or you don't have to rely on him in the same way that you did before. And then you look at the defensive line, you have a core now of a young team. It actually reminds me a little bit of you guys in 99 and 2000 at the beginning of Andy. We're seeing the young guns really starting to carry this team on defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And people are like, well, hey, man, why aren't we getting sacks? Why aren't we getting sacks? Well, for you, coverage dictates sacks. So you need that coverage to come in there and disrupt the receivers to be a little bit more physical. And that's what they're doing, because now you see where the defensive line can be a little bit more disruptive But secondary has to be a little bit more physical. Make sure you get in the receivers, make that quarterback hold the ball just a tick longer, and then your defense is getting home. I think Nolan is starting to come around with his rush, and then, Jalen Carter, man, he's just an animal in the middle. So, I mean, you got some animals out there that can get after it. You just need the secondary to continue to play the way they're playing.
Yeah, and BG really hasn't fallen off, Trey.
Old-ass BG.
He's not playing as many snaps, but he's still, I think he had 29 or 30 snaps against the Bengals. He's making impact plays almost every week.
The BG, his farewell tour is, he's playing at a pretty solid rate to be talking about, okay, this is year 15. BG is having a really solid year to the point where I wouldn't be surprised if he says at the end of the year, I got one more in me.
I've been saying it for a couple weeks now because to me, Trey, it feels like that he thought that everybody agreed this is going to be your final year. But then you go out there and you're playing. You can talk about this because I think I remember Ike used to always say that he pretty much knew that his career was winding down, that he didn't have enough to go back through another training camp and do it all over again. It doesn't feel like that with BG. I think I remember you telling me the same thing. Did you know, in your final year, did you know that the time was coming?
Oh, yeah. I knew it. I was out in San Diego, had just had a knee surgery, and then got back, and one of those rookies, running backs, ran into my back, locked my back up. I woke up the next morning and went and told Norv Turner, like, hey, man, I'm going home. Thanks for having me out. You know what I'm saying? So I think BG, and the way training camp is now, I think that helps, especially when you have someone that's up in years like BG. But, it's going to be up to him if that's – but he's playing at a high rate right now, and he's doing what he's asked to do with not a high volume of plays, but he's being impactful. So, it'd be interesting to see how it plays out at the end.
Yeah, your podcast that you have with Todd Harriman's Between the Vines, 7279. You're still churning out content. You're drinking wine. I've been watching the episodes. I'm on the Instagram looking at everything. What's you got two big offensive linemen. What does Todd think about the offense this year? And really, you look at Nick Sirianni being the CEO coach, but Kellen Moore seems like he's got finally. Here's what I think I have with the offense. Here's what Jalen Hurts can do the best. It feels like everything's coming together with the coordinators right now with Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore.
Yeah, I think that they're working to – this is one of the things that I noticed with the organization is that they hear everything that everybody says. So, you know what I'm saying? So, if everybody says, hey, they're not running the ball enough, Saquon is going to get the ball. Hey, you know what? They're not throwing the ball over the middle. We're going to throw the ball over the middle. So, keep complaining. Whatever you guys want to see this offense do, hey, we don't see Jalen Hurts on the center. You're going to see Jalen Hurts on the center. So, keep complaining. Whatever you guys want to see, yell it loud because this organization is going to work to get it done.
Dude, it's so true. They're listening to WIP. They're watching PHLY. They're hearing what you're saying. It's so true. Devontae's not getting targets early in a game. Guess what? Devontae's going to get 7 passes every time, man. Oh, it's so true. You're so funny, but it's so true. Yeah. And I guess that's a good and a bad thing, right? Because you want the organization to know what the outside is saying. You don't want them making decisions based on what the outside is saying.
Yeah, you know what? Hey, man, I want to see Jake Elliott catch a pass. Let's do that. You know what I'm saying? I need everybody to get on board. Let's yell it out loud. I want Jake Elliott to catch a screen pass, and hey, they'll do it. They're working into this plan. Let's work on it.
Jordan Mailata never lined up at running back, and that was something that I took a lot of phone calls on. So they didn't do that. That would have been awesome.
Well, I don't know. Now that you got Fred Johnson out there holding it down, I don't know. We might see Jordan get back there in the backfield.
I went real quick on the rest of the Eagles schedule. So they got the Jags coming up. Man, if they don't win that game, I don't know if I'm watching them for the rest of the season. I better not have to worry about that game. But it's a look-ahead game to the Cowboys the following week. So you got a big national TV game against the Cowboys. And then it's a short week. Thursday night at home, but against the Commanders. And Washington is very good. Jaden Daniels can play. That kid's good. And then you have on the road against the Rams, Sunday Night Football. And then you're at the Ravens. So Cowboys, Commanders on a short week. at the Rams, at the Ravens. This is going to be the toughest 4-game stretch they have after the Jags game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's why it's so important to keep stacking performances, you know what I'm saying, as you move forward. We can't have those drop-offs where you have a really good game from the defense and then they drop back down. Now we need to continue. Now that we're seeing this team continue to move in the right direction, we need to keep stacking these wins, especially against Jacksonville, because that's a team that you should dominate. So go out there, dominate, keep working, because you know that you're going to have some tough matchups later on.
We'll end it on this. So Anthony Richardson, the Colts quarterback, he was benched yesterday. He's still very young, but Joe Flacco is going to be the starter going forward. But what happened on Sunday, I've never seen before. He tapped out. He's the quarterback. He tapped out of a play because he was tired, and he came out of the game for a play, not because of injury, but because he was tired. And I saw his teammates react to that, especially a couple offensive linemen. What was your reaction to Anthony Richardson tapping out for a play because he was exhausted?
I couldn't believe it, because I'm just like, how can you? I'm looking at first. I'm looking at the offensive line. Did you guys have the man running for his life? I'm gonna have to go back and watch this game. Was he scrambling a lot? Because for you to just say, "Hey, man, you know what? Hey, coach, everybody, running backs sub out, receivers sub out. The guys that stay on that field is the offensive line and quarterback until the game is in hand." And that's always been the case. I have never seen a quarterback tap out because he was tired. Now, I've been in games where I felt like, hey, man, I need y'all to hurry up and do something. You know what I'm saying? Because I am winded. We are on a 17-play drive. I want to get off this field. Fine, hurry up and do something. You know what I'm saying? Even when we played in Dallas in the pickle juice game, where it was hot, shoes were busting, played every snap in that game. I have never seen a quarterback just say, hey, you know what? Hey, man, I need 5. Give me a couple minutes. I need a couple minutes because I'm winded. That's and then I'm kind of like, well, is this a new era? Will you start to see other players say, hey, man, especially quarterbacks say, hey, you know what? I need a break. Because, that right there to me was just mind-blowing. I've never seen something like that.
He had 6 carries for 45 yards in the game, JP, or up until that point. I mean, I'm not questioning whether he's winded or not, but still, don't you have to? I mean, you call a timeout if you're not ready to go. I mean, I've never seen anything like that. I'm assuming in all your years of playing through youth, high school, college, NFL, your kids now play. You've probably seen every game your kids have played. I've never seen a quarterback tap out because he was running around too much.
Never. That is new. This is the new NFL.
No, it's not. No, I can't imagine that.
It can't be. That's what I'm saying. I hope this was a one-off and will never happen again.
No way, man.
Because it's going to be talked about. I mean, everybody's talking about it. I know this is something that's going to be, hey, man, all right, hey, guys, you need to, if it's that. You had Jalen Hurts out there with one shoe saying, all right, you know what, I need to get back out there. Call a timeout. Let's try to figure out this shoe. The equipment manager, shout out to the equipment managers for having another pair of shoes on the sideline.
Johnny on the spot. Right there. Well, listen, maybe Donovan in the Super Bowl should have tapped out of that play instead of throwing up on the field. But
I can't confirm or deny that. I don't know. I'm not sure. You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure what happened there. I can't confirm or deny what happened in that huddle. I don't know.
Okay. All right. When do you and Todd when does the new episodes of Between the Vines come out generally?
Oh, we're gonna come out today. We're going out to Cape May Winery today and having some wine, man. So it's fun, man. Sit around, drink some wine, talk football.
All right. We'll look forward to the new episode. Trey, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it. Take care. Have a good one.
All right, there he is, Trey Thomas. There you go. Yep. Donovan, instead of throwing up on the field, should have actually tapped out and then had somebody come in to get thrown up on the sideline and I hate to be mean to Donovan about it, but it's the only other thing that I can think of where a player was that gassed that he couldn't make it. He couldn't even get the play out because he had to throw up because of it.
Didn't we recently have a player? Was it Joel Embiid? Didn't we recently have someone sick who played a game? I'm trying to think.
A quarterback's never tapped out and he admitted after the game that it was because he was like a lot of times maybe after the fact, like I got my wind knocked out of me or I was a little bit whatever. Like you make up an excuse or whatever. No, he came out after the game and said he was tired.
I mean,
like a wide receiver.
Well, obviously, like, look, I put up the stat. That was his stat line to end the day. So he was 6 carries, 45 yards. Now, obviously, you got to keep in mind maybe he's like scrambling, and then he throws the ball away. And we weren't all watching the Colts and Texans vividly there on Sunday, but it's just not a great look. When you're the franchise quarterback, obviously, it's the coach and it's the quarterback. Like, those are the two that always will get the blame. And so when you are the franchise quarterback, unfortunately, you gotta muscle it out.
Yeah,
you gotta stay out there.
I gotta and I would love to know what the situation was, because you know what you do there? You freaking hand the ball off to the running back and you take a breather. Because if it's a third down and you don't want to and you don't want to do that, well, you're coming out of the game anyway. So what does it matter?
Yes,
you just hand the ball off to catch your breath. I'm sure there's been quarterbacks that have been gassed out there from running around.
Yes. And you can, the easy option, John, is just you don't tell the reporters, hey, I tapped myself.
That's even better. So, no, like tired, I had the wind knocked out of me a little bit, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, he didn't seem like it was that big of a deal. No, like, I'll be honest with you, I was injured. Or I was tired.
Could it be the new era of the athlete? Well, I guess we're going to have to find out.
So quickly, it's the return of Tobias Harris tonight. Do the 76ers give him a tribute video?
Yes, 100%, yes. Because the thing is that, like, Tobias Harris ended his tenure in Philadelphia with the fans, but with the organization, they loved him within that organization. So they're going to give him the little 5-minute intro or the tribute video.
They should give him nothing.
And then the fan base is going to boo.
They should give him nothing because they shouldn't put the fan base in the position to do what you know that they're going to do, because it's going to make the fans look bad. And the fans don't deserve to look bad right now based on what you've put them through.
You act like this team cares about the fans.
But see, like, I believe there's people in the organization that do care about the fans. I have to believe there's somebody in the organization that cares about the fans. Is it Daryl Morey? I don't know. He has never acted
he's Mr.
like
Crumble Cookie, remember?
No, honestly, maybe there's not anybody that cares about the fans in the organization. But I'm just saying, the 76ers, because they gave Andre Iguodala a tribute video, and people complained about that. Andre Iguodala was drafted by the 76ers and was an all-star player with the 76ers, and we probably undervalued how good of a player he was with the team because he signed a max contract, and he really was more of a Batman. He wasn't a Batman. It wasn't even a Robin. You know what I mean? Like, he was a good starting player that did a lot of great things.
Great role player.
But, and the 76ers should not give Tobias Harris a tribute video tonight because, A, his contract was an epic failure. B, he doesn't deserve one. And C, if you do, the fans will boo him, and it will make the fans look bad. And the fans don't deserve to look bad after the treatment the team has given the fans and everybody else this preseason. The fans don't deserve it. These fans deserve more than how the 76ers are treating them. Bottom line.
I completely agree with you. And fan base has dealt with, it's not just this year. It's like it's over a decade.
Going back to Marcus Hayes had said it, and I was there that day at the Constitution Center, broadcasting live with Sean Brace, where they announced Andrew Bynum and Richardson. Was it not Josh Richardson? Shout out to the diehards out, by the way. Out there. Shout out diehards. Who was it? Who was the other? He was a veteran player.
Jason Richardson. Yeah. That was a ridiculous trade that pretty much nobody won.
He was there. At the Magic time, everybody thought it was great. At least I did.
The Magic won that trade because Vucevic played there in Orlando for like a decade.
Correct.
And he had a couple All-Stars down there too. But the Nuggets got Iguodala, who left for the Warriors the following year. The Lakers, they got Dwight Howard. And obviously that didn't go well. That
was actually the start of the process.
Yeah.
The failure of the Bynum trade and Doug Collins, that's what started the process. I have an Andrew Bynum jersey that was given to me. The Wells Fargo Center used to have something like twice a year called the blowout sale. So you would get all the stuff that they couldn't sell or they had a big inventory of. So it was after Bynum was already gone. So one of the people from the Wells Fargo Center is like, hey, you want a Bynum jersey? We're like, what do you want? We broadcasted live on a Saturday morning from there. And I'm like, I want that Bynum jersey. It actually matches a bathing suit that I have. It matches these Nike sweatpants.
There you go.
So I'll wear it to the beach. But I wore it to one of the big playoff games for the 76ers, and people were like ripping me. I'm like, this is because this started the process. Andrew Bynum actually started the process. So we're here today because of Andrew Bynum and the failure of that trade. But it hasn't worked out.
Probably the worst trade in Philadelphia sports history.
They better not give Tobias Harris a tribute video. They better not do
You're
it.
gonna
I'm going to
get
say
it.
they don't because they realize that and it's 76ers. There's people that listen down there. There's people I'm friends with that work for the Sixers that listen. Don't give him a tribute video. He didn't earn it. He doesn't deserve it. He sucked. One of the big reasons the Sixers haven't been out of the second round is Tobias Harris isn't a great player.
I mean, I know it's a different organization, but if Kevin Hayes got himself a tribute video, Tobias Harris, the logic would tell you Tobias Harris will get you.
All right, so like Freddie Galvis was like an okay player for the Phillies.
Yeah.
I love Freddie Galvis.
Solid
He's a
glove.
backup player. He's a utility player.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris was on a $40 million a year contract, and he said the fans don't know what they're talking about. They called him casual 76ers fans, and then the general manager had his back. Something just fell in our studio. Did I just shout something off of the wall?
Yeah, dude, that was awesome. Studio's telling you something, man. Tobias Harris.
So listen, coming up today on PHLY, man, we have a good. Anthony's going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the reasons we are awesome at PHLY is the coverage of our teams.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nobody else that I want to hear from today than the PHLY 76ers team. Kyle, Derek, Devon. Man, it is legit.
They got a tough job, man.
Yep. They will be down there today. Rich Hoffman Jr. is a big part of what we do, and he does the newsletter, PHLY Daily, every single day. So they will keep you covered. Tune into their coverage. Nick Nurse is going to have to speak to the media, and he'll at least be asked questions about Joel Embiid and the fines. And he won't get off so easy this time with just referring to the statement. There'll be follow-ups on the follow-ups on the follow-ups. So I'm hoping Howard Eskin is down there today to bother him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they got to come up with a plan today. Can't just be, no. The hand of it all? Are you kidding me? Where to answer that?
Going to be spicy. Going to be spicy. Shout out to the Mad Chatters that join us live every morning at 8 o'clock on YouTube.
Today,
if you're watching later on YouTube, that is awesome. Subscribe, like, comment. What do you think of the show? Do it. All right. Also, if you want to listen to the audio version podcast, you're in the car, whatever, this is what you get. Just search Philly with Jon Marks, search PHLY Sports, and the podcast is up every single day a little bit after 9 o'clock, and you can listen at your convenience. And, of course, follow us on socials at Jon, Jon Marks, Marks Media, at Jon Marks Media. Email johnmarksmedia@gmail.com. Slide into the DMs. Say hello. However you want to do it. JP, how do we reach you, my friend?
You can find me at Parcero, Parcero Philly. That's on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever it may be. You can follow me. We can interact. Maybe we can talk about the Sixers team that's just driving us all wild. But it was a great show. Great Wednesday.
And don't we have a great special that's going on right now for new diehards?
Good cash, Jon. So right now, guys, got to be a diehard because, dude, $48 for 12 months, an entire year. That breaks down to $4 a month. For a lot of us, that's your coffee in the morning. I know, listen, don't try to hide. I know you're spending $4 on that latte every morning. So instead of that, you could be like me. You can brew your own coffee in the morning. It's fantastic.
Shout out, me too.
Yeah. And then you can get your diehard special. We got all the great writers that we talk about, the merch discounts, and the Discord chat. Discord chats is really where you want to be because then you can be amongst your brethren, right? You can interact with all other Philly sports fans, our beat writers, and our beat guys too. So it's all a lot of fun. We got great stuff over here.
You get T-shirt with all that.
T-shirts, hoodies, hats.
And you're getting coverage. I'm just telling you, you're getting coverage you're not getting anywhere else.
That's right, man. You're spot on,
Zach
Johnny.
and Bo, Kyle, Derek. Forget about the podcast and all we do with that. Les Bowen, Jim Salisbury. I mean, we have the writers.
Yeah. Also
covering all the teams right here. Charlie O'Connor on the Flyers. So everybody, please.
For all your porcelain reads, guys.
It is. What's one other thing that I wanted to mention before? Damn it. I just had it in my mind before we got out of here.
Dodgers in 5, Jon. Dodgers in 5.
So you like the Dodgers tonight?
Yeah, Dodgers in 5, man.
Gentleman sweep, they call it.
Yes, sir.
In the business.
They wanted to do in LA, man.
All right, 76ers, do they win tonight?
Yeah, they gotta beat that Pistons team.
Can I root for them to lose just because it would be more fun if they lose?
All right.
And Tobias Harris to...
Does Toby get... All right, I'm going to set the line at 4 points. Does he get the 4 points? points tonight.
Or does he play big in his return?
We
and
played,
then he's arrogant about it afterwards.
because we played the video the other day. I mean, the dude is still bricking in Detroit.
He's been terrible this year. So here's the question: he's probably going to talk before the game. Does he like take the high road and rave about the fans and say that, you know, like they didn't get it done when he was here, but he's proud of what they did or whatever? Or
That's
is he a dick and he's arrogant like he was the whole time that he was here, that he's like, oh, he's a great player, we don't know what we're talking about?
I feel like he will take the higher road only because he's now been out of Philadelphia for a minute. He's been away from this. He's been cleansed. He's in Detroit, so he's feeling back to his kind-hearted Tobias Harris. So I'm saying he'll take the high road.
I don't think he will. Tobias Harris, we'll set the over-under because it's we'll set it at 14.5 over-under.
I'm going so under.
That's on the Bet Parks app.
He's gonna hear those major boos, and it's gonna get in his head, dude.
So you think he cowers? Over-under 3, 1 or none, pretty much.
Over 3, under 14.
All right, there you go. Enjoy all the coverage. Flip over to Anthony right now. I got to get a cavity filled. I forgot. At 10 o'clock in Royersford.
Have fun,
with the Royersford dentist. I may not make it there by 10 o'clock. We'll talk to everybody tomorrow at 8 o'clock. See you.
We all silly like the mayor.